This tip is a bonus 2-for-1 where I explain why my channel and carving is called Against the Grain chip carvings. And you'll notice along this ridge here some of these kind of vertical lines going on there, and even down here where some of the grain is splitting and kind of pulling apart. That's not an issue with the knife or the carving. That's as the knife was pulling through the chip, it actually separated the grain. And I don't actually know exactly why this happens, or haven't found a consistent explanation for when it does, but what I found to be the case is in some of these situations when I have kind of a small ridge like this, and I'm carving the second version of it. So I've removed this chip, and then I'm removing this side of it, and as I carve with the grain, as I talk about doing that a lot, it'll actually pull the grain of the wood open like that and kind of create those splits. And it's not too bad here, but here, like I said, you can start to see it actually splitting open, and I've had much worse in the past. And like I said, I don't know why it happens, but the solution to that, when you do see it happen, is to simply carve against the grain. So normally for this, with the grain direction, I'd be carving in this direction. So carve in the other direction, and that seems to solve it. I don't, like I said, have a good explanation. I think it's just when you are carving against the grain, you're kind of driving the grain into itself, which creates a little bit more friction, sometimes a bit of a rougher result, which is why we usually want to carve with the grain, and as well, it doesn't fight the knife. But when you see this happening, it's not a good result, and so we want to avoid that. So like I say, just carve against the grain in the opposite direction when you see it happen. But as far as why that's the name of my carvings, is right about the time that I started selling and creating an online entity, I was discovering this aspect of chip carving, that sometimes you need to intentionally carve against the grain. So it's kind of a light bulb moment for me, another development in my carving experience and skill to be able to avoid that. So it fit with the timing of where I was, and it also fits with my personality. I tend to go against the grain of those around me in a lot of ways, and so it's kind of just a nice little three-way fitting of the play on words for wood grain, my personality, and chip carving specifically, of that little tidbit that I'm sharing. So yeah, keep an eye out on that. I do think it tends to be a little bit more so on the grain is running in this way, and so this is almost across the grain. It's almost perpendicular. It's just a little bit with the grain direction this way. So for the ones that are like this, that are more close to along the grain, I find I don't really have that. And if it's straight across the grain, I don't have it. But these ones that are almost across the grain, slightly with, be on the lookout to see if that happens, and if it does, go ahead and just carve in the opposite direction against the grain.